Now we come to important provisions relating to valuations under the Income Tax Act 1961 and the rules thereunder. Income tax valuation or the provisions of relating to valuations under the Income Tax Act are quite vast, so vast that if we really have to cover all those topics, it would at least take us a workshop of 2 to 3 days. In the given time, our aim and objective is to focus on some of the key provisions of the Income Tax Act and income tax rules relating to the valuation. And that is where we need to have a good understanding of Rule 11U and Rule 11UA. Now, when it comes to Rule 11U, now what Rule 11U does, Rule 11U primarily defines different terms which are used in the context of valuation under the Income Tax Act and under the income tax rules. So what are the expressions which are defined under Rule 11U? And that is, number one is the balance sheet. So Rule 11U defines balance sheet as defined in the Companies Act. So that is what it says. How is the merchant banker defined? It is defined as per the SEBI Act. Quoted shares or securities are defined as covered under the Securities Contracts and Regulation Act 1956. How is the registered dealer is defined? So registered dealer is defined someone who is registered under the Central Sales Tax Act or General Sales Tax Law for the time being in force. So today, of course, the Central Sales Tax Act is no more in existence. Today what we have is the GST. So anyone who is registered under the GST laws is defined as a registered dealer. Registered valuer, and I'm sure you will recollect as we discussed in the beginning. So someone who is registered with the Income Tax Department as per Section 34AB of the Wealth Tax Act 1957, that person is defined as registered valuer. So here the registered valuer is not the one who is registered as per IBBI. Here the registered valuer is one who is registered under the Income Tax Act. And please remember, as per the Income Tax Act, there are many categories of the registered valuer. So there is a category for the registered valuer of jewelry, registered valuer of art, registered valuer of land and building, plant and machinery, financial assets and securities, and so on and so forth. Securities is as defined by the SCRA 1956. Unquoted shares and securities also as defined by SCRA 1956. And this is where we need to focus on valuation date. So what is a valuation date? So valuation date means the date on which property or consideration, as the case may be, is received by the assessee. Now what does it mean? It means the assessee can be a buyer, the assessee can be a seller. So if the assessee is a buyer, so the valuation date will be the date on which he receives the property, on which he receives the asset. So that is going to be the date of valuation. In case if the assessee is a seller, that means the date of valuation will be the date on which he receives the consideration. So that is how the Income Tax Rule 11U defines the valuation date. Now we come to Rule 11UA. Now what this Rule 11UA is, friends, Rule 11UA primarily gives determination of fair market value under different situations. That is what the Rule 11UA gives, and we will look at all those situations one by one as we move forward. Right. So Rule 11UA is for determination of fair market value of jewelry, archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, or any other work of art. That is what is Rule 11 A is all about. So, Rule 11 A 1A, 1 small a, it talks about determination of value of jewelry. So how will the jewelry be valued? Now please remember, as a valuation professional, all of us as company secretaries or cost accountant or chartered accountant, we are not authorized to do the valuation of jewelry and archaeological work or art painting or artistic work. We are not required to do the valuation of those assets. But remember, many times we may be doing valuation of a company, and that company in the balance sheet may have the jewelry and other such assets. So for arriving at the value of the company, we will need to have the valuation done of the jewelry and painting and other arts of work. So what we will need to do in that case, we will need to take help of someone who is authorized to do the valuation of jewelry or archaeological work or painting or things like that. And that is what we need to remember. So it is necessary for us to be aware of all these provisions. So how will the valuation of jewelry be done? Number one, the price which such jewelry would fetch in the open market, that is number one. And in case if such jewelry is in the possession by way of purchase and there is an invoice available from a registered valuer, then the invoice value will be considered as the value of the jewelry. And the third situation is when the jewelry is received by any other mode and the value of the jewelry exceeds 50,000 rupees. In that case, what the assessee will need to do, the assessee will need to obtain a valuation report from a registered valuer. So this is the methodology as per Rule 11 UA 1 small a for doing the valuation of jewelry. Same way, Rule 11 UA 1B talks for determination of fair value of archaeological collections and drawings and paintings, sculptures and any work of art. And again it's the same thing here. Number one, price which it would fetch if sold in the open market. तो अगर इसको ओपन मार्केट में बेचते हैं तो अपने को कितना पैसा मिलेगा, that becomes the value. If such item has been obtained by way of purchase and there is an invoice available for such purchase, then the price given in the invoice will be the fair value. Or if it is received by any other mode, in that case a report of the registered valuer will determine the fair market value of archaeological collection, drawings, paintings, sculpture or any work of art. Then you have Rule 11 UA 1C, and that is what we are more concerned with actually. Rule 11 UA 1C, and it talks about determination of fair value of quoted shares and securities. तो अगर quoted share है तो उसका valuation कैसे करेंगे? How to arrive at the value of a quoted share? So Rule 11 UA 1C in general talks about the situations where the valuation is to be done of quoted share. So what can be the situations? The situation number one, Rule 11 UA 1 small c small a 1, valuation of quoted shares when transacted at a recognized stock exchange. So the shares have been transacted at a recognized stock exchange. How will the valuation be done? The quoted price on the recognized stock exchange will be the value of such shares. What if the shares are transacted other than at a recognized stock exchange? And I'm sure we all are aware that it is not that you buy the shares or you deal into the shares always through the stock market. Sometimes when you're doing bulk deals, so those bulk deals are not routed through the stock market. those bulk deals are done privately. So in case if there is such a deal, then how will the valuation be decided? In that case, it is going to be decided based on the quoted price on a recognized stock exchange only. Recognized stock exchange only. So this is your rule 11 UA1C, and that talks in terms of determination of the quoted shares and securities. Now friends, we move to the next topic, and that is decoding valuation of unquoted shares under rule 11 UA1CB.